Welcome back. Now to our top story. Iran says it attacked 3 ships in the Strait of Hormuz and seized 2 of them. It happened shortly after the president extended the already existing ceasefire with Iran as a U.S. blockade remains in effect on Iran's ports. Now here's General Keith Kellogg on what the U.S. should do next in the region. Watch.
Look, you break the impasse by just breaking off negotiations. We're saying we're done with these guys. We're finished. And you take a really harder line. You create problems for them. We really don't know who's in charge. So we're just going to say we're in charge and this is what we're going to do. And if that means taking Carg Island or the islands in the Strait, so be it.
Paul, your thoughts?
So a couple of things here. I wrote about this over the weekend on my website, the Ops Desk, because I think a lot of people don't realize what shutting down the straits means. There's not a chain of boats across the canal that you can't get past. What they've done is they've just created enough risk so that the captains who are sitting on tens of thousands of tons of oil don't want to hit a mine. And so the risk becomes just too great for them to go through the Straits of Hormuz. There's also the small boats, there's offshore missiles. So the captains are saying, we don't want to go through there, we don't want to risk it because, number one, we've lost our insurance, and number two, we don't want to die. All right, so right now we're trying to clear the straits, et cetera. But to enlarge and answer your question real quick, is that here's where I come down. Look, we are where we are. I understand reasonable minds can disagree about whether we should have gone in or not. I get there. If you're going to say no, though, you better be willing to accept a nuclear-armed Iran, because that's where we were going. But irrespective of that, we're in it now. And from where I sit, I agree with the general. You got to win. And to me, leaving the IRGC in place as the head of that nation when we're going to do this again 2-3 years from now, that's not a win. So I want to see what the resolution here looks like. I'm all for no boots on the ground. I'm all for stopping the shooting, people dying. I don't think any sentient human being should be against that. But to pull out now and leave the bad guys in place, all you've really done from what I see is eliminate the mullahs. And you got the guys with the guns still in power, and they seem to be every bit as radicalized as they were. So I hope this deal is not snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
Hopefully the analysis by those ships' captains is reverse of what you said. We don't want to die first, and then we don't want to lose our insurance second. All right, Kayleigh, talk to us about the appetite of the American people right now, because there seems to be a bit of whiplash. You know, this is on, this is not, and it feels exhausting in many ways, but Americans have faith in their commander-in-chief, and they're hopeful for peace in the region. But walk us through what that's sort of looking like now and expectations, how those might sit.
Yeah, and Caroline Leavitt said, I mean, I'll paraphrase her, that politics was never a calculation here. The calculation was the safety, the well-being of the American people, and eliminating a threat that for half a century everyone acted as if it was the most dire threat to our country. And I say acted because the people who said it was a dire threat, Iran can never get a nuclear weapon, are all of a sudden saying, wait, why did you do this? As if they just have total amnesia over what was said over the last half century. So there's that. I think they're doing what is in the national security interest of the American people. But to Paul's point, there are some moving parts here. One, how long will the ceasefire last? I've seen reporting it could go on for some time. I've seen reporting that it could be 3 to 5 days. You know, number two, there's President Trump talking to the New York Post, who says that in the next 36 to 72 hours, it is possible that there could be talks. So maybe these talks resume. Maybe they have gotten a response back from the Iranians. Also, wait to see what happens with NATO. Apparently, according to Politico, there's a naughty and nice list in NATO that the administration has created. Some of our allies haven't quite been allies. So we'll see what shakes out with our alliances as the Gulf states have stepped up. And then finally, we had Operation Epic Fury, and now it's Operation Economic Fury that Bessent is outlining right now on the Hill. So how does that economic pressure move Iran? I know we have a great deal maker. I know of any president in the last half century, this is the one I would want at this really tough moment in time.
All right, she invoked you, Lydia, for how does the economic pressure move Iran? Our business expert here.
You know, I think coming from the business side, it's a good moment to kind of step back and look at how the markets and the economy are both faring in this moment, because now we've been in this war more than a month, more than 2 months. You know, markets, remarkably, they've recovered all of the losses that we sustained on the earliest days of the war. And in fact, since March 30th, the S&P 500, which tracks 500 companies broadly, it's up 11%, maybe more since the day has progressed. A really good thing to track. We're also in the midst of earnings season right now. We have about 15% of our companies on the S&P 500 that have reported so far. They're reporting higher revenue and higher earnings. That is growth. Those are better margins that are showing that profits are being turned. They're growing and they're still turning profits. As we're listening to those earning calls, earnings calls, yes, companies are absolutely talking about questions about the direction of oil prices and what the supply chain is looking like. But when we look at the broader economy, they're not acting on any of those concerns just yet. They're not pulling back. They're not firing. They're not downsizing, which is really good. We have a broader American labor market. They're still employed, low hire, yes, but also low fire, so I'm not seeing that trickle out. Inflation, the story there, ticking up slightly, 3.3% is a headline, but Americans remember what it was like under the Biden administration when we saw 40-year highs for inflation. And this time, I think you can argue and tell a really good story about how we're taking on a tyrannical government.
It was at 9% at one point during the Biden administration. It was horrible. And reset pricing forever because you never go back to what you had before.
That's right.
Yeah. So a nightmare. So I would say this. The ceasefire, I agree with you. I think that if you sit pat too long, you're giving away some advantages. But Wall Street is showing us they're betting on Trump. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They think he can get this done. And so they're going to sit there. They're not forgetting the 7 battleground states that he won in the last presidential election or the advantage that he had in the popular vote. The people are with him. You can go back and forth each day with gasoline prices, and you're going to find some people who just didn't have enough cash that day, and they're seeing these prices go up, and they're having a game out for their families. That is real pressure on the economy as well. But on the flip of that are some of the largest refunds that we've seen coming from the IRS that are due out quite shortly now, too, post-April 15th. So there's a lot of, if you're going to do it, now is the time. But then what timing do you give it? So the IRGC has hit Saudi Arabia since the beginning of this with 1,000 drones. Bahrain has taken 500 drones and 200 ballistic missiles. Now, we know what they hit Israel with, and we know they're closer in, but those were supposed to be some friends, at least neutral. That's who we're dealing with right now. So when you say, oh, who's at the table? The IRGC did nothing but get stronger when you took out the Ayatollah. And if we ever thought they weren't involved, look at what these countries have taken in terms of warfare from them. We have a job to finish now, and this is the president that Wall Street, and I would argue millions of voters, are betting on. So finish the job.
Indeed. And remember, there's a shadow play here at the table, China.
Yeah.
Yes,
so that
absolutely.
Has to be, anyway.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.